Good evening from Lewes in East Sussex. My name is Fiona and I'm a violinist in the London Philharmonic Orchestra. And I'd like to introduce tonight's LPOnline concert. This concert is the one we should have been performing live at the Royal Festival Hall tonight as part of our ongoing 2020 Vision series, in which we place pieces that represent the 21st century alongside masterpieces of the 19th century, often with revelatory results. While of course we're all very sad not to be at the South Bank Centre tonight, we nevertheless hope that you will enjoy a glimpse of this fascinating programme, planned and to be conducted originally by Vladimir Yurovsky, our inspirational principal conductor, who is very much here with us in spirit. The first piece in tonight's programme is by Étienne Nicolas Méhul, a contemporary of Beethoven. Although Méhul is not the best known of names today, in his time he was actually a most celebrated French composer. Vladimir has placed a 21st century British classic by Ryan Wigglesworth from 2009 alongside the fiery and dramatic First Symphony by Méhul. Étienne Nicolas Méhul was born in 1763, and although he was enormously popular in France at that time, he lived in the shadow of Mozart and Haydn. When his symphonies first appeared, he said he wished to accustom the public gradually to think that a Frenchman may follow Haydn and Mozart at a distance. And it was Beethoven, of course, who cast the biggest shadow on Méhul's efforts to put the French symphony on the musical map. The Symphony No. 1 in G minor, dating from 1808 to 1809, was in fact conducted by Mendelssohn and praised by Schumann. Méhul was said to have been the operatic idol of the French Revolution, the writer of many of its fighting songs, as well as celebrated overtures that dominated French concert programmes for at least half a century. Ryan Wigglesworth's 2009 Augenlieder is a setting of 4 poems: Robert Browning's Eurydice to Orpheus, Egon Schiele's Visionen, Arthur Rimbaud's Voyelle, and John Berryman's Keep Your Eyes Open, which the composer says provided the initial stimulus for this work for soprano and orchestra. Ryan Wigglesworth explains that in Augenlieder, specific sonorities underpin the cross-currents and correspondences between the text. The harmonic and melodic materials for each of the 4 songs share certain characteristics. A seemingly innocuous, split-second gesture in one song often provides the main point of expansion for another, and so on. The intention is for each song to stand as a distorted mirror in which to view the others. Having performed Ryan Wigglesworth's music before, the LPO was looking forward very much to another work by this composer, and especially performing Augenlieder with the wonderful soprano Sophie Bevan, the composer's wife. Rachmaninoff spent 3 years living and working in Dresden, where he wrote 3 monumental works: the Second Symphony, Opus 27, the First Piano Sonata, Opus 28, and The Isle of the Dead, Opus 29. His works were gaining depth and mastery, yet retaining the freshness of his earlier works. While in Dresden, Rachmaninoff received an invitation to embark on a lengthy American tour. The Piano Concerto No. 3 was written specially for this tour. The first time Rachmaninoff mentions his work on the Piano Concerto No. 3 is in a letter to his friend Nikita Morozov, dated the 6th of June 1909. There is another letter to Matvei Pressman from the 2nd of October 1909, in which Rachmaninoff admits to having worked like a labour camp inmate to finish his piano concerto in time before his departure to the US. The first performance of it took place on the 28th of November 1909 in New York, with New York Philharmonic under the direction of Walter Damrosch. The concerto was performed in New York again on the 16th of January 1910, this time under the baton of Gustav Mahler. This concerto is more complex than the second in its structure, and it is also more symphonic. In fact, it is almost a symphony with a solo piano. At the same time, it's one of the most daunting pieces of piano repertoire ever. One could say that this concerto became the next milestone in the Russian piano literature after Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto No. 1. The theme of the first movement sounds like an orthodox chant, which is often the case with Rachmaninoff. The slow movement bears traces of influence by Germanic tradition, Wagner in particular. I feel there is also some strange resemblance of the slow movement of Mahler's Sixth, which was written earlier than Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3, but of which Rachmaninoff was absolutely unaware.